Elizabeth Chappell, a lifelong entrepreneur who finally found my niche. After years of new ideas and jumping from business to business, I figured out how to turn a craft into a successful career. In 2016, I started a monthly subscription box for quilters. That little startup has grown into a thriving, multiple six-figure business that I am so proud of. As a published author, designer of fabrics and patterns being sold throughout the world, my favorite thing to do is to teach others how to grow a career of their dreams. Each week, you'll hear from me or from other guests who are creative entrepreneurs, so you can learn exactly what to do and what not to do to grow a career that's more rewarding and successful than you ever thought possible. If you're ready to turn your craft into a career that you love, I am so excited you're here. Welcome to the Craft to Career podcast. It is so good to be back. I have taken a little hiatus from the podcast. And first of all, I just have to say thank you for those who've reached out and said, hey, I missed your podcast. I hope you're coming back. That really meant more than you even know. But you know, there are times and seasons, and sometimes it's good to just take a little break so you get the energy to come back full force. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm coming back full force. I have a lineup of amazing guests. I mean, really, really exciting guests. So stay tuned for the next couple of episodes coming up. You are in for a treat. And this week is especially fun. There is a brand new product that you are going to, well, maybe you've heard about it. If not, you'll hear about it for the first time here, but it's called Thimtec. And the owners of Thimtec are here on the podcast today, Aiden and Jessica. And I found out while we're recording, they're also in Houston, right here in my neck of the woods. But they have such a unique product that has absolutely blown up. I mean, you will hear when they first went to their first trade show, people were literally knocking on the door like, how can I carry your product? How can I carry your product? And it's only a 1-year-old product. So it's just grown exponentially. So you're going to hear the growing pains, the growing excitement, all of the things. Definitely sit back, enjoy this episode, and let's jump in and let me introduce you to Jessica and Aiden of Thimtec. Hi, thank you for being here on the Craft to Career podcast. We have Jessica and Aiden of Thimtec. Can you both introduce yourselves and just tell us who you are in the quilting community and with the company?
Yes, I am Jessica, and I am a co-owner of Thimtec, thimble tape products, and I have been in the sewing and quilting community since I was about 3 years old. But I teach, my background is as a fashion designer, pattern maker, manufacturing, all the things. And then now I teach all sorts of fiber arts and textiles. Yes, and then Aiden.
Hi, I'm Aiden. I'm co-owner of Thimtec and thimble tape product company. And I'm not like Jessica in textile business for so many years, but I love numbers. So I'm in the number business for so many years. I also have 2 dogs. I don't know if you're interested in that. So yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being here. So I'm curious, how did you come up with the idea for Thimtec?
Yeah, so I feel like this has been a product in the making since I was born almost. But I have been sewing and knitting since I was very little. My grandmother taught me when I was about 3, and thimbles never fit my fingers. So I needed something better. I have really small fingers, and I also really like my manicures. So this was a problem for a long time. But I have been working in the fashion industry. I started working in the fashion industry very young also. That's what I studied. And so there was just never a good solution for me. I started teaching sewing as well. So all sorts of sewing, hand techniques, needlework, everything you can think of. And I noticed all my students never had finger protection that worked for them. So they were coming in with like electrical tape, masking tape, duct tape, band-aids, everything you can think of except a thimble. They were even taping their thimbles to their finger. And I also teach children, and you can't stick thimbles on kids' fingers. So I just kept thinking there's got to be a better way. So I started playing with different solutions, and I knew I wanted something with different properties. I wanted it to be puncture resistant. I wanted it to protect against cuts. I wanted it to be heat resistant, all these things. And so I found something that was okay, but it had latex, it was sticky, it wasn't perfect, but it worked okay. And my students loved it, and they kept calling and calling me for it. And I would just kind of give it to them at cost, sell it to them at cost. And then one day I was thinking, okay, why? And I did this for years. And then one day I just thought, why haven't I reformulated to fit all the things that I wanted into a tape and made my own and made it in colors? And so I called Aiden. And Aiden has the manufacturing connections, and that is her story, because the sourcing of manufacturing for this has been a process.
I am curious. I mean, Jessica, it sounds like you have done a lot with like sewing. Are you still teaching?
I teach all of I teach the textile program at the Glassell School, which is the Museum of Fine Arts. Yeah, and I've been there for years and years. And then I teach privately, and I teach at my daughter's school because I don't have enough to do. And,
Right.
But I love teaching, and I pretty much do every type of. I have experience in every type of needlework, sewing, anything you can think of. I'm a knitter. I do the whole thing. So this is my life. I've kind of grown up with this.
So I'm curious, with Thimtec, how long have you technically been in business?
It has only been 1 year. But it feels like a lot more. But when we launched it, we actually launched it at the Houston Quilt Festival, literally not this year, but the last year, so a year ago, and it just went kind of gangbusters, like immediately. And so it's just been on a great kind of growth trajectory since. So it's been going really well. And it's just, for us, it's just been navigating the growth of it and what we can do with it.
Have you been able to get the product in with like, maybe there's bigger like wholesalers or distributors, but I'm thinking like Checker, Brewer, United Notions, people like that.
Yeah. We have Checkers, we have Brewers, and we also have EE Shink.
Was that hard? Like, did you just reach out to them, or like, how did that play out?
Oh, that's a good question. So last year we were at the Quilt Festival. Okay, we have to give you, a story like how we got in the Quilt Festival. We were late, but Jessica wrote an email to Elizabeth, and she's like, we're Thimtec, we have this brand new product, and it's awesome. And we were so nervous. We were like, oh my God, what if we can't make it?
I mean, we didn't even we just put up the website.
Yeah, we didn't have any hope, And then the next day, I remember she replied at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m.
Oh, yeah, it was.
It was really early. And she's like, oh, this is very interesting. Let me talk to the team. And then 2 days later, we got the email from her. She's like, yes. She's like, we want you in. I was like, okay, great, awesome. So we get to our booth. It was our first time. So, everything is so new, And then we got our booth, and it was so tiny. It was the tiniest booth among all the big booths. And across us, it was huge. And we're like, oh my God, like, we were nervous. We're like, okay, how are we going to do this? But we're just like, okay, like we just go with the flow, just be ourselves, just trying to, introduce the brand new product to the people. And so the first day, a lot of people came by and they stopped. They were like, oh my God, first, of course, they have a question about the product. And then like more and more store owners stopped by. They were like, have you talked to Checkers? Are you guys selling at Checkers? We're like, what is Checkers? Like, we have no idea, And we're like, oh no. And then they were like, okay, you have to sell at Checkers. We're like, okay, but how do we find them? And then, because then we got so busy. And then I think the second day, Lynn, who works for Checkers, she stopped by. At first, she was talking to us because we have no idea, who's this person or who's this person work for. And we talked to her. And then all of a sudden, she just flipped her tag. She's like, oh, I'm with Checkers. I was like, oh my God.
Everyone's talking about you. Yeah.
So
by the end of the first quilt festival, we had multiple distributors, and then we had to kind of like filter through and figure out what to do. And that was like a learning curve too, because we didn't expect, quilt festival, we just expected some sales to introduce the brand, and we didn't expect what happened after the first quilt festival. And that was like a big jump for us. And so it was a lot more than what we expected. So it's been good.
I've never chatted with someone who's had this kind of experience. Like normally people are like, how can I, get in the door? They do not have people knocking down the door for them. So I think like, if I had to guess, it's just that it's such a novel product. It solves a problem and it's unique. I guess that's novel, but like, what's the feedback that you've heard from people? What are they saying when they're like, oh, I have to have it?
I think that's been the cool thing about going back. So we did Paducah. So honestly, we're holed up in our studio all the time. So we're just like, and our studio was my like sewing studio and my like everything studio. It's where I do my private lessons, all the things. And then now it's turned into like also our tape studio. So it's now the Thimtec / sewing everything studio. So we've repurposed rooms in there, and luckily it's large. But so we're there all the time. So we get out and speak to people if I'm teaching. So I knew it worked because of my students. So I know it works because I teach so much and I teach so many people. And then when we go to the quilt festivals, it's great because we really get a good gauge of who uses it and also the repetition. We've only been, a brand for a year. And so I would say the really great thing was going back to Houston Quilt Festival this year, where like we had a return of everybody that was there from when we launched exactly a year ago. And we just got back from Quilt Festival this year and a Houston one. And then this was like, everyone came up and was like, we can't keep it in stock. So stores can't keep it in stock. Then all of the customers are like, we love it. It's great. And so hearing all the feedback of, the repetition, because that's the hardest thing. I've had businesses and I consult a lot of businesses and especially in apparel and all these things. And it's honestly, it's a lot easier to sell your product initially than it is to get the repeat orders, customers, whatever that is. And so once you have the repetition and the trust and all of that is really, I think it really feels good and it really solidifies that you're doing a good job. And I think this means so much because it's something that I think is very, for me, I'm so connected to it because the way I teach and what I do, this is my whole life. And I really believe that the process of stitching, sewing, needlework, all of these things, quilting, every single part of fiber art is rooted in the process and not necessarily the outcome. And so if your process is like less efficient and painful and just a pain in the butt, then it's not enjoyable. And the whole process of fiber arts and textiles and what it means and how why it was, why it exists is because of, that is supposed to be something that's calming, that is social, that carries all this meaning. And so once you're using like a thimble that falls off your finger, a gripper to pull the needle through, or pliers, all of these things that interrupts the process, or you're burning yourself, you're cutting yourself with rotary cutter, all these things that are just everywhere. Let's kind of streamline that process so you can focus on how enjoyable it is for you, the social elements, all of that, and then make it, and then your outcome is more joyful too.
Yeah. And I mean, I look at quilts I've made and I have memories of making them. Like even, I started listening to my very first podcast when I made that one. I remember staying up late at night and like, just random stuff. But
Right.
You're right. And there are some that I have a negative memory with because the process wasn't fun, or, I'm like, I don't love that quilt. So yeah, I do really like that. I'm curious for our listeners, what was Paducah like? Was it worth going from a business standpoint?
I mean, we did well, but I would say, what do you think, Aiden? Like for us?
For business point, first of all, it depends on what product you're selling. Second of all, Paducah clientele is very different than Houston's one. Paducah is more smaller, but the density is good. So, you see a group of people come in, and also the space is much smaller than the Houston Quilt Festival. So, which means like basically they just put people in the space, and what they do, they just shop. So it's like you trapped hundreds of people in one space, give them 10 minutes to shop. So I think, for the short terms, it's good, and like the first day and the second day is great because first we have to make sure your inventory is good enough to let people shop through first and second day. And then it will definitely like die down on the third day, which is very normal for them because, Paducah is like, they have two separate spaces. One is, like down at the downside of the hill. The other one is up top. So I think it's worth it because based on the, the amounts that we sold and also the connections that, we built, we met a lot of awesome people there and they're very kind. And also like the way like they accept the new products is amazing. They're willing to, stop by the booth and listen to your story and take a look at your product. And also those people who come to the Paducah, it's always in a group. You don't see any singular person coming to the booth. So I think that is great for business because you want a large group of people to stop by because, you convert as much as possible, which is great. So yeah, the downside is just it's so hard to find, the hotel or Airbnb. So for the listeners, if they want to do that, so make sure you book your Airbnb or hotel like at least 6 or 7 months early.
Smart. Yeah, I've never been to Paducah. I'm super curious to go.
It's a really cool city. Like it's super cool. You wouldn't expect what you get when you go there, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, it's so cool. It's like the whole like city is built around quilts and arts, and so it's actually the vibe's super cool. But I will say the Paducah Quilt Festival has like the demographic skews older, whereas I think like QuiltCon will skew younger, and so there's different energy. It's a different atmosphere, And what you're seeing so much now in, you know, all this space in general, how it's kind of like dividing and conquering, and you kind of have to, I feel like you kind of have to bring it all together. And it would be really nice to see that, because that's the traditional element of all this anyway, is, older teaches the younger, and that's how the traditions get passed on. So it'd be really cool to kind of get this to combine, and, all of that to merge.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Have you been to H&H? Are you going to go to H&H?
We're going.
Are you? Okay. I'm intrigued to go because it's all the different, I mean, especially Jessica, it's got like the crochet, all the things. So yeah, I'm excited to potentially go. If I'm there, I'll pop by and say hello along with everyone else who says hello.
Yes, that's exciting. So we're looking forward to it. I mean, it's going to be our first time.
Yeah,
So,
it kind of sounds like it's up and coming. I don't know, like a big deal. So what would you say has been some of the biggest surprises and, let's say, struggles? So we'll say positive and like, oh my gosh, I did not know that coming. But like, what's been a surprise along the way?
I will say the surprises have been, the community has been amazing, like, and so supportive. And probably like that is just the people we've met along the way. So from other brands and how supportive they are, and just to customers. So all the just every single person we have met from start to finish, and the friendships that we've made, like, they've become really amazing friendships. To even like in Paducah, we met four sisters who stopped by our booth and invited us to their house for dinner. And we went for two like homemade dinners, and they just kept stopping by our booth, and they were amazing. Like, just, and we're complete strangers, they're so hospitable. And I mean, just the community in general. And this is what I love. I mean, I've been in the textile community since I was little, but this is why I feel like there's no community like the fiber arts and textile community, because it is the most generous, supportive, giving. And but I will say, even though I've experienced it, I think we are constantly surprised, happily surprised by it daily. So
That's awesome. Wow, dinner at their house.
yeah, and
I want to be friends with them.
oh, yeah.
As a small business owner, we know two things. We need a product to sell, and we need people to buy it. But how do we actually get people to buy? Here is my little secret. Your biggest sales will come every time you send an email to your audience. That's right. Whether this surprises you or you already know the power of email marketing, one thing is clear: you need the right email platform. And that's why I use Flowdesk. Flowdesk is made for small business owners. And unlike most email providers, Flowdesk does not charge you the more your audience grows. Plus, creating beautiful, easy to read emails has never been easier. So if you are looking for a user-friendly way to collect email addresses and grow your audience, try Flowdesk. And with code QuiltersCandy, you will get 50% off your first year. Experience how easy it is to grow and nurture your audience with Flowdesk. Aiden, it sounds like you might have more of the negative surprise. Yeah. Struggles, we'll say.
Well, this is our first year. The struggles, of course, will be the stress as, the first element. But, we'll learn how to manage the stress, as well as, living as a normal life. And, but I think for us, the most challenging part is, for me at least, because I'm the one who deal with manufacturers. So I think that's the biggest one to deal with, because, you have to, like, we want to be responsible to our products. So like, we want to have the best product, of all the products. So the quality control and the struggle is to talk to the factories over again about one small detail. It's just very, it's frustrating, but also like you have to be patient. And yes, the struggle with the factory is a big thing. And then we learned in the hard way about, copycats.
I have some posts about this on our Instagram.
Yes. Yeah. All because right now, like, like before we set a foot in this business, like I was in finance and banking before this. So like, and also retail. I never thought this will be another business because the online, platform, especially for shopping, for example, like, Walmart or Amazon, they tend to customers friendly instead of seller friendly. So there's a lot of things that, get copied and sell in a different countries, not only just US, but also in a different, market. And for us, the struggle part is like we spend lots of time to deal with, infringement IP issue, which should never happen in the first place. But, because the big corporation, they don't tend to protect the small business, right? So yeah, I mean, still now we still struggle with that because, even though we have a trademarks, even though we have our lawyers to get involved, but still you can't, they're like, copycats just like roaches. Like you can't clean them, or you can't just like if you kill one, there's hundreds just come up. So yeah, so I think that's the other struggle for us. But then we just learned, just be ourselves, focus on our product and focus on our community. I think that's the best way to deal with that. Just trust your own brands, trust yourself, and just do it. Just be yourself. Just don't mind those copycats because it's gonna be there no matter what.
Yeah. I think it's something a lot of people don't recognize until your product's out there because it's not necessarily copycats. It's people that are just stealing your actual imagery, your videos, all the things, but they're not actually shipping out your product. What they're doing is they're shipping out completely different products under your images, your name, all these things until you file the infringement reports. So they're sometimes referred to as hijackers, that kind of thing. We did have a hijacking problem. This is very interesting. We had no idea this existed until this happened to us, and it just stopped our sales on Amazon, which was crazy. But they and until you're in it, you don't realize it, and it's very frustrating and difficult to deal with. But they hijack your Amazon listing, so they take something called an ASIN number, which is your Amazon listing number. They take over it because they list your product for less money. So they take your buy box, they list it for less money. So they take over your whole listing. They don't even need to post their own images or anything. They just post it for cheaper. And so technically people think they're buying your product, but it's not from you. So all of your sales get diverted to like this Chinese company, and it's not you. And so all of a sudden,
how do they do that?
It's crazy. Amazon allows it to happen, and there's nothing.
It's crazy.
How are they allowing that?
That's the crazy thing. So I made all of these posts about it. It went like crazy on TikTok. It was so bad.
Yeah, because when you think about it, yeah, it's very bad. It's crazy. You ask, that's a great question. How they allow this? Because Amazon based on the transactions. So any transactions happen through the website, they still get money comes in. So that's why I said it's not seller friendly at all. And also, like when it take us how long? Like days to report this.
Weeks.
How did you find out? Like somebody said, hey, this is crap or what?
You have a bunch of sales and all of a sudden you're at zero. And you go check out what's happening on your listing. We also have like some consultants we work with, but you monitor for Amazon's almost like a full-time job on itself. by itself. So you monitor your listings, and then you see all of a sudden all your sales are being diverted. Like you have no, and then you see all these weird names on your buy box. So, but as a customer, customers don't necessarily see that. So they think they're buying from you. And unless you're looking for it, you won't necessarily see these like other names on the listing.
It's like illegal. How is that? I'm flabbergasted.
It is technically illegal because they're stealing
Yes.
your IP. But that's the weird thing. So I would say like per week, I file multiple infringement reports against Walmart and Temu, and they take them down. I mean, we're trademarked. We have 2 trademarks. So thimble tape is trademarked, and so is Thimtec. And so they take them down. And then, but Amazon's trickier, even though we sell on Amazon. We don't even sell on Temu, obviously, and Walmart. We don't sell on them, but we have all this IP infringement that pops up every once in a while, and we have to report it. And then, so that's like a job to just sit there and search and find the infringement, and then file the reports. And then, but they're very good about taking them off. But Amazon, even though we sell on Amazon and we're brand registered with them, it's very tricky to kind of like monitor that activity.
Oh, Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we kind of go back and forth between like, do we keep it? Like what do we do? And then, but the way people shop. So this is a conundrum. I would say if anyone's listening and they have a product they're trying to start or they want to sell, it's such a weird world now because you're like, I don't necessarily want, maybe I don't want to list on Amazon or the Etsy's or anything like that. But then you've got all these everyone now, look at shopping habits and how they're changing. And and look at shipping now. Shipping is so expensive. And then how are it's a very strange dynamic in terms of, well, if you have it depends on your product, and is it the kind of thing you want to put out there on Amazon? Do you want to build this brand on while you put it out on Amazon? Do you want to just fulfill it by yourself? Do you not want do you want a warehouse to fulfill it? How do you want to do this? And then if you build it by yourself, it will be like a slower growth. What are the costs? How do you want to do it? Do you want to do it via social? Do you not? There's so many decisions all the time. And a lot of times you second guess yourself because you never know if it's the right answer. You either just go with your gut or you have to try and see what happens. But I would say like most of the time, it's just about believing in yourself and what you're doing. And then, knowing that you have a good thing and believing in that. I mean, it's really, you cannot predict anything
It's
now.
true.
It's so hard. And you don't know what the next moves
It's
are going to be.
always changing. I mean, like, I feel like it's especially with.
It's all changing.
Yeah, there's a lot that's going to be changing in the next few years. And yeah. Well, I am curious, do you guys like package it yourself? Do you have someone who distributes that for you? Like,
no. We try and protect as much as possible by shooting ourselves in the foot in the process.
Yeah. I'd rather work like, over 10 hours, but not giving them any opportunity to get more from us, and also it's easier for us to do quality control as well. Cause when we pack by ourselves, we know what's going on and we want to give it the best to our customers.
And I will introduce our third business partner really quickly because she helps us sometimes with packing and ideas. And this is my daughter. I'll let her introduce herself really quickly because she wants to be introduced. All right.
My name is Gemma.
hi, Gemma.
Hi.
So what do you do with the company?
Sometimes I like to pack the boxes.
Oh, they need that. You're a really good helper. Have you used the product?
Yes, I use it a lot.
How much do you love it? 1 through 10. 10 is the best. 1 is the least.
10.
That is the right answer. Thanks for saying hi. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
I love that, by the way. Like to have her have hands-on, like seeing you grow a business is priceless. I just think that's so cool.
I mean, she's very helpful. Even though, like she's 7 and she did the best that she could, sometimes she sit there for like 15 minutes. She can work on like 15 boxes and she'll be like, "It's an hour yet," but I really appreciate her help.
Yeah, she's great. And
Yeah.
she's always at the quilt festival. Some people see her because she's there. And she's always helping and she likes to see this grow. She's been there since it started, and she's also an avid user, and she also sculpts with the tape, which is so interesting. A lot of kids end up loving, like, it's weird, really strange. They've all taken the same without knowing each other. They all end up like sculpting with the tape because it sticks to itself only, not to anything else. So they all have figured out that you can like make shapes and like form and all sorts of things with it. And so she's made everything from like a frog to an empanada.
That's amazing. Even just, I want to play with it now. I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, that sounds really fun. You've got a toy on your hands here too.
Basically. And it's latex free, so you avoid all the allergies. So it's great. Yeah.
So I think, okay, I could be wrong. Maybe you've already answered this, but I'm curious, like, what's been the most effective for increasing your sales? And it sounds like it might be going to these shows, but maybe something else.
I mean, I would say, yes, it's definitely going to, I think getting out in front of people, period, is probably the most effective, more effective than even like social media. Cause that's how I feel like social media doesn't necessarily work, like in this community, it doesn't necessarily work unless people are seeing and touching. For our product, it's a tactile product. So you need to like see it. We need to demonstrate it. And we do have videos, and I post them, and I need to post more, but
Don't we all?
I know. But it is, again, a very tactile product. So I notice also I do teach. So like my students get a lot of hands-on with it. They love it. And then and then they pass it on. And so it works the same at quilt festivals and trade shows, but then also us like just meeting people and them using it. So that hands-on in any situation is great. And then the social media kind of is the after of effect of that. So that's something that we want to do like more and more of. So I would say like, both the festivals, the trade shows, my teaching, like just the in-person, interaction is probably the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really nice to hear, because I do think a lot of people get burnt out with social media. They're like, "Ugh, do I have to in order to have success? Do I need this large audience?" And there are other ways to market something besides having to post 5 times a day or whatever, So what advice, and you've shared some, but if you were to think of anything else, what advice would you have for someone who is thinking of launching a product in the creative space? Let's go with manufacturing, actually. Aiden, if you can share any advice, because it sounds like you've had a lot of experience and it sounds like it's a bit of a nightmare. So what advice do you have in that area?
Well, first of all, stay on your ground. Be be patient. That's the first rule. Deal with, factories. And the second of all, know your product and know what you want. And don't cave, and there's a lot condition comes with, the final product, but make sure you always know what you want to make sure, push through what you want, and don't let them take over your idea. Don't let them take over what do you need and what do you want for your own. So I think that's the first thought I got from the factory's manufacturer. And the second of all is be cool. There's a lot of times that you get so frustrated, but sometimes you just tell yourself there's nothing you can do. Just let it go and just focus on your product and focus on, your main goal and focus on the purpose that you have. And the third of all is watch news. As there's a lot of news coming every day, and that's how you keep up with the manufacturing and shipping, because now we don't know, there's no stability. So the best way is talk to your factory frequently and build a good connection with them. A lot of times they're sugarcoating everything, but just tell them what you want, and trust them 80%. Leave the 20% to yourself. That's it. But just talk to them frequently, because you want to know what's going on with the factory. Some factories, they're big, some factories, they're small, they won't tell you. There's a certain case that small factories could be shut down in a week without telling you, and you will end up with nothing. So yeah, and do some research too. I know it's very hard to do overseas research, but just trying to ask them more questions and find out what's the size of factory, what they can do. Also trying very hard to protect your own goods. If you have certain special design, go find a lawyer, go have a trademark first, patent first, before you talk to a factory. So
Because they
I
could
think
take
that's
your
always
thing and run with it, right?
Yes, they take everything.
And how do you find a manufacturer? Just Google manufacturers and
No, so you have to, first of all, you have to go see what category factories that you're looking for. If this product, has plastic, then you go, find the area of those factories, or metal factory, and then you ask them, hey, what's your specialty? What you can make. And they normally will tell you like different products they made. And then you go from there and you search through one product and similar to yours. And then you go ask them. Normally, a lot of factories say, oh, yeah, I can make this. But, if you ask for samples, they give you the samples that is not, it's totally opposite what you want. So that happens a lot. Yeah, but, and also a lot of factories, they actually connect to each other. So you won't feel surprised that, other factories start producing the similar stuff. And because they all connect to each other, they all buy products from each other, they all buy materials from each other. So be prepared for that. So that's why, like, do as much as you can in the market that you're going to sell. Just don't worry about, the overseas problem, because it's just out of your hands. So just don't put a lot energy over there. Just focus on yourself and focus on your marketing. That's it.
yeah. And Jessica, I think you want to say something earlier.
Oh no, I was gonna say she also is not giving herself enough credit. But you also want to be bendable and be able to problem solve very quickly and creatively, because you have no idea what's coming at you like from one day to the next. So I think both of us are like that. And then especially since we both are like very hands-on with all aspects of the business, but we've kind of had to give ourselves designated roles because there's so much. And so Aiden, especially doing the QA part, is probably the hardest part of this whole thing. That's quality assurance or quality control of everything. And it's very frustrating, especially if you're a perfectionist in any way, shape, or form, which you will be if it's your own product. And so it is, especially if you are not manufacturing it yourself, because your manufacturer will never care as much as you do. So
Exactly.
it is, and my background with manufacturing is in apparel. That is terrible world too. And and so you want to make sure you have all your, like, before you just go into production, you want to have all your, like, everything covered. You have everything, all your specs down, exactly what you want. Just don't go in with vague information. And you have people that are working on your side as well. And it's not unbalanced relationship either. But I would say that's all I would add to Aiden said it perfectly.
Nice. So I'm curious if you could go back to, I mean, it came out a year ago. I don't know the timeline of how long you'd been working on it. If you could go back now, knowing what having experienced all that you've experienced, would you start the company again?
When we started it, we had no idea that like the tariff thing would happen. Like all of these things would happen that, AI would make it easier for like hijackers, for all of these things to happen. So I would say going in like blinder to those elements was probably better. Cause again, at least for me, because the way I work, I like being a problem solver. I'm more trained that way in how I think. And so for me, like those problems, great. Okay, give me the biggest problem. Let me solve it. So I'm better at thinking on my feet like that way as opposed to, oh, I need 5 months to figure it out. I don't necessarily need 5 months to figure it out. I can think in a hurry. But so I don't know. I would say no redo because I don't want to go back and do it again. I just want to move forward. But I don't know about Aiden.
Well, if there's a chance, I definitely will do it again because I can't see myself go back to work for somebody else. I can't do that. And also, there's so much that I learned, throughout this year. And I know, with that experience, like things can get better. So, yeah, so I definitely will do it again, even though it's sometimes just so much stress. But, you only live once. So why not, Yeah, it's like, sometimes when I think about it, it's like, if, at the end of the day, if I died and everyone will remember, okay, Thimtec, thimble tape, like that's good for me already. I feel like, okay, this is what I have, and I'm happy and I'm good to go.
And you left a mark, a really cool legacy of sorts. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So for our listeners who want to try out your product, where's the best place to find you?
I'm going to say our website, thimtec.com. Amazon can be your last stop.
Yeah, don't go there.
Or your local store as well. If you happen to know your local stores who, they carry our tape, definitely, support your local business as always.
And we're in a lot of stores.
Yeah.
So we don't know all of them. But yes, and if they don't carry it, just ask them and most likely they can get it. They can either reach out to one of our distributors, which are Checker or Shank, or they can reach out to us directly. But for the most part, I know most people are with Checker. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here on the Craft Your Career podcast. It's been so great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you both so much for being on the Craft Your Career podcast. It was absolutely a delight to chat with both of you, to hear your story, to just see what this journey has been like for you. I can't wait to use your product myself, and I know our listeners probably feel the same. But just so much knowledge and experience that was shared with us. So thank you so much. And if you are a listener and you have not left a review for the podcast, if you enjoyed this episode, please take just a minute and go and leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can rate it 1 through 5 stars. And you can also write a little review sharing what you like about the podcast, how that's helped you with your business. And this is really, really helpful for me as a podcast host, but it's also really great for other listeners. It's going to help people find the podcast, especially creative entrepreneurs. They'll be able to have this show up more on their feed the more reviews you leave. So pay it forward to another creative entrepreneur and leave a review. And I'll be back next week with a brand new episode that you do not want to miss. So I'll see you then. Take care. Bye.